The scope of this illegal action is unprecedented.
Nationwide confusion as the Trump administration presses pause on federal funding.
This administration to be good stewards of taxpayer dollars.
We're reaching out to see the possible impacts in eastern Washington tonight.
$1 million in damage to Omak's UPS warehouse. What police say the thief was trying to steal that caused the fire.
More of the same the next couple of days, but by the end of the week, we're talking rain and widespread snow.
We start with some breaking news at this hour in the murder of a 13-year-old Spokane boy from over the weekend. Police say they've now identified a suspect and say he should be considered armed and dangerous. Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News at 5. I'm Mark Hanrahan.
And I'm Whitney Ward. Now at 5, Spokane police are releasing a name and a picture of that suspect tonight, so take a look. Right now, police are looking for 25-year-old Glenn Dylan Berkey in connection with that shooting. They say probable cause has been established to arrest Berkey for second-degree murder.
On Saturday, Spokane police found 13-year-old Gavin Looper on Heroy Avenue with several gunshot wounds. He later died at the hospital. Right now, police are saying the shooting does not appear to be random. If you have any information about where Berkey is tonight, you're asked not to approach him and instead call 911. We continue with more breaking news tonight. Late today, a federal judge temporarily blocked the Trump administration from freezing federal funding on all public loans and grants.
That freeze would have halted billions of dollars into the U.S. economy and caused nationwide confusion, which it did in the hours before that judge's order. The freeze itself could have impacted everything from nonprofit funding and universities to state and local government grants.
The Trump administration plan sent the U.S. government, states, and organizations that rely on federal funding into panic and confusion and set the stage for a constitutional fight over control of taxpayer dollars. The administration said the decision to halt loans and grants was needed to ensure that spending complies with Trump's recent slew of executive orders. Trump wants to increase fossil fuel production, remove protections for transgender people, and end DEI efforts. But that funding is a financial lifeline for local governments, schools, and nonprofits. On her first day, the new White House press secretary attempted to provide clarity on the memo.
And I want to make that very clear to any Americans who are watching at home who may be a little bit confused about some of the media reporting. This administration, if you are receiving individual assistance from the federal government, you will still continue to receive that.
The Trump administration says the Office of Management and Budget is reviewing the federal funding to make sure the programs being funded align with recent executive orders.
Today, U.S. Senator
You could see a screeching halt to resources for child care, cancer research, housing, police officers, opioid addiction treatment, rebuilding roads and bridges, and even disaster relief efforts.
Murray is the top Democrat on the Senate Appropriations Committee that assigns federal funding.
Nonprofits across the country are now scrambling to figure out if the federal funding freeze will impact them, including right here in the inland Northwest.
That includes World Relief here in Spokane. KREM 2's Regan Gallo just spoke with the organization. Regan, what did they have to say tonight?
Well, the biggest sentiment I heard was this news is confusing, and many organizations which receive federal grants are waiting for more information before they decide to take any action.
World Relief Spokane, an organization that aids immigrants and refugees, says 85% of their funding comes from federal grants.
Try to give them some assurance, but I have nothing. I don't know what's happening. I don't know for sure what the last executive order means.
Armstrong says both staff and their clients are unsure of next steps.
And then if I walk out into our reception room, there's another group of people who are refugees, and they are uncertain without all that's happening. They're scared.
Another potentially impacted group in the inland Northwest may be Spokane County. County officials told me they are concerned about the $44 million for wildfire recovery they just received weeks ago from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. A portion of that money is supposed to go to the city of Medical Lake. Spokane County says they have 65 federal grants, a total of $149 million. For Spokane Neighborhood Action Partners, they told me it's too early to tell what this means, but they made it clear they are committed to assisting families. And based on guidance, Spokane Colleges says they received financial aid is exempt from the pause of federal funding, including Pell Grants and direct student loans. As for Washington state leaders, Senator Patty Murray raised her concern at a news conference in Washington, D.C.
The scope of this illegal action is unprecedented and could have devastating consequences across the country for real people.
And over in North Idaho, the Democratic Party says many resources are also at risk.
As local organizations get more clarity on what could happen with funding, KREM 2 will keep you updated on how this could impact the Inland Northwest. In the studio, Regan Gallo, KREM 2 News.
Regan, thank you. An update tonight about what happened leading up to an officer shooting 2 people inside of a home in North Spokane on Friday. According to the independent investigation team, a 911 call came in where an alleged assault could be overheard by dispatchers.
Officers arrived at the scene and say they heard screaming. They say they entered the home where a suspect then charged officers. One officer shot at the suspect, hitting him, but also hitting a woman inside the home. Both were taken to the hospital and released the same day. Investigators also recovered a hammer from the scene near where the suspect was shot. He is now facing charges from this incident.
The Pend Oreille County Jail announced today that a 33-year-old inmate died. Another was hospitalized yesterday. A 32-year-old woman allegedly brought a substance into the jail. Tonight, she is charged with bringing a controlled substance into a jail facility and controlled substance homicide. The cause and manner of death of the 33-year-old is now being investigated. The condition of the inmate in the hospital is still unknown tonight.
Also at this hour, OMAC police are sharing pictures of an arson at the UPS shipping center, resulting in more than $1 million in damage. According to police, it happened on Saturday. The fire was started when they say someone tried drilling into a UPS truck gas tank to steal gas. Through an investigation, officers say they were able to arrest a suspect yesterday who has now been booked on several charges, including malicious mischief and arson. All right, let's take a quick break now from the headlines where we want to talk weather and another very chilly morning today.
Yeah, let's get over to Chief Meteorologist Jeremy the Good. Jeremy, we have been stuck in this same weather pattern for what feels like 2 months, but things might be changing, you're saying.
Yeah, in just the next couple of days, big changes will be upon us. Tomorrow may very well be the last day of plenty of sunshine. Thursday morning, likely the last cold one for us. Hear me out. 30 degrees is where we currently sit. And with the dew point of 21, it doesn't look like we get quite as cold as we did last night. But similar to what we saw earlier this morning, I do think we have a little bit of fog or low-hanging cloud cover to contend with. Air quality sits at moderate. Moderate is about where we've been for the past 24 hours. It did get a little worse overnight and expect that to be the case again tonight. Air stagnation advisories remain in effect through Friday because we aren't going to see a change in our weather pattern until then. Already starting to see our jet stream waver a little bit, and that comes ahead of a big shift that moves in from the south. Because that shift moves in from the south, our temperatures climb. 35 tomorrow, 37 Thursday. And with our temperatures falling overnight Thursday to Friday, it very well could be snow. It could also be a whole lot of rain making its way toward us. But either way, it's all rain by later in the day on Friday.
Really beginning to turn the tide in the community from where we were before.
Spokane wants to overhaul its homeless shelter plan, the changes that have already been made, and how city leaders are handling community feedback next.
And the Idaho State House is asking the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn the same-sex marriage ruling. What it means coming up next.